What's up, people? This your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. This is going to be a great show. Why? Because I said so. In today's world, we talk about a lot of different things, and today we're going to be talking about music. And we got some very special guests with us. I want to talk about the number one guy on the show, which is me. I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk about bringing up Mr. Sir Hale. What's going on, Mr. Sir Hale?
Hey, good things. How are you?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you being on the show. Listen, that's really the only reason why I bring you on, so that I can be able to hear the hand claps.
I feel like it could be of good use.
I was just kidding. Say the question of the evening is, what's the last song you was listening to?
There's a song by this artist on Epidemic Sound called, I think it's like Jabez or something like that, called Hold On. So I was listening to that, a real good groove about him, a relationship he lost and wish he could have held on to it. So I listened to that tonight.
That's what's up. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. And then we got welcoming to the stage, Miss Shay McNuckles. How we doing, Miss Lady?
HD, I know you see everything that's going on backstage, but you will just spring us on here in a second.
Hey, it's that teacher in me.
I get you. Okay, well, the question of the day, I'm just making it home. So I was listening to 94.9. That kind of plays in my car. So the last song was Elevation Worship, Same God.
Oh, that's what's up. Do you listen to that pretty much? Go ahead. So, what you gonna say?
Oh, I love that group. Yeah, Elevation Church for real.
I do. Yeah, one day, I don't know how, but it was programmed into my radio, or I was trying to search, and then it just stayed. So it's been there ever since. So I just keep the same station on every day.
That's what's up.
For about the past year, it's been like that. So
the same station for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what's
up. But when
I
drive, I tune out, so I'll be in and out. So I'm not really a music player in the car anyway. So.
Okay, that's a bit. All right, so we're gonna welcome to the stage all the way from H-Town, Miss Sugar Curls. How you doing, ma'am?
Hi, doing well. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. You got the question?
Yes. All right. So the last song I listened to today is called I Choose You. And it's a wedding song. It's by Ryan Darling. It's an original song. It's very beautiful. It really set the tone for me today, preparing for my reception celebration this weekend. So recently married. So
okay. That's what's up. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's what's up. Okay. Now, welcome to the stage, none other than Mr. Mario. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad you can make it, man. I know it's been really been trying to get us together almost like for a year now.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you made it, bro. So you got the question?
Yeah, so a friend of mine just dropped a mixtape called, this is my shameless plug, the Menace Mixtape 2 by Dayton. He's a Christian rapper by the name of Dayton, and the song is Too Much My Bad with him and Bizzle. Dope song.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dope song.
You gotta put the link in the back chat. I'm definitely a fan of Dayton.
Yeah.
And then Bizzle for sure. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Next to the stage, last but not least, Mr. CJ. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, man.
Too loud? Or...
You're good, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm one of the only people that probably listen to that heathen music every now and again.
What is heathen music?
Not Christian rap.
Okay.
I listened to a song by a guy from my city called WTF Dodgers, right? It's a spot called Dodgers Chicken. Right. It's a song called Dodgers Chicken. Guys were throwing up gang signs in the video, rapping about the street life. I come from it, so it's still, I'm trying to shake it. I say I got like 40% NIGGA in me. I'm trying to get the rest of it out. You know what I'm saying? But I'm working on it. But my daughter doesn't listen to it, so that's cool.
Okay, cool. And then the last song I listened to is called Last Love. It's a song by John Mullins, and it's talking about something like you didn't have. It's basically saying that you used to be with somebody else, but that's over, and now I'm glad that you're able to be with me, and that you're gonna be my last love, and I'll be your last love. And so that's one of the most recent songs that I've listened to. And so over the weekend, if you don't know, your boy Humble Dad got engaged to.
You ain't right, sir.
He said, "Oh my, that's what's up, sir." Hey, listen, it's always entertaining when you come on, bro, for sure. All right. So the first question of the evening, just getting on out there. What are your thoughts on music today? What are your thoughts on music today? And we're going to start with Mario. We're going to start with the new kid on the block, Mario.
What are my thoughts on music, man? It has no boundaries at this point, man. I grew up in hip hop culture. So as well, running the streets, doing my thing, as well as grew up in the church. So I kind of had a little bit of both. But right now, man, music is almost like you can say what you want to say, express how you feel. It just has no boundaries at this point. I think in the past it was a little it had some reins on it, but now it's just, and maybe it didn't have reins on it, but now it's just everywhere because of social media and things of that nature. But you can see what's going on in the culture, and I just believe that it has no bounds right now.
There's no bounds. Okay, cool. So you get to choose who goes next.
We're gonna turn it over to Mr. CJ, the one that said he's still a heathen.
Appreciate the introduction, man.
That's what you
said.
That's what you said.
It's not quite what I said.
He said he listens to that heathen.
Right.
My bad, bro. My bad.
I get it though. I don't take it away. But as far as the heathenistic music and what music is today, I actually have a problem with it. Because I came up on DMX. I came up on, he might not be the most positive people, but Project Pat, Yo Gotti, Lil Boosie, and a lot of their music was telling a story. It wasn't like specifically glorifying the lifestyle. Most of it was telling a story. I think today a lot of the young guys are just about selling the image of whatever they think they are. Like,
did you pause? No, he was in the middle. He paused. Oh, he froze. Okay. All right. So we'll get him back. Are you there, CJ?
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to switch our cameras after I say this because there's something going on.
No problem. Go ahead.
But yeah, as far as the music today, I think it's heathenistic. I think it's promoting the most negative lifestyle you can live. And I think that it sells a negative image to Black people. And I think we endorse it, promote it, fund it, and we're not understanding the power of music. I can't stand when rappers or entertainers say, it's your job to raise your children. Like, we don't know music has an influence. So I'm not liking where it is today. It's just too negative.
Okay, too negative. Don't like where it's at. All right, cool. So who you got going next?
Let me get the guy that got all these sound clips, Mr. Sir Hale.
Appreciate it. So I think music today is effective. Whatever message you want to convey, whatever you want to put out into the atmosphere, if you put it into a song, people are gonna remember it. And if you play it over and over again, people might even think that it's a way of life or truth. So I do think that it is negative, but I think it's effective. and that people who understand psychology and marketing and pulling on human emotions leverage the power of music to convey messages. So I can't say that in general I like music as a musician who plays the piano. I can say it's effective, but it is dangerous as well today. So I'll answer it that way.
It's a good start. Who you got going next?
Let's get Mrs. Shea.
All right. So I think music is connecting people. I think, and I say that from the standpoint of you're hearing more different genres of music being accepted and talked about amongst different ethnicities, demographics, race, religion, etc., like Afro beats, reggae, Caribbean, Latina. So you're seeing that connect people from different walks of life. So, all right, Sugar Curls.
Last but not least. Okay, so what I was thinking was in reference to the artists of music. That has definitely changed. Like I grew up listening to, of course, you have Luther Vandross, Whitney Houston, even with some artists like Prince, Michael Jackson, Betty Wright. Those artists, I mean, there's just no one like them today. So I think it has changed in that regard, as far as just having real solid singers, artists, if you will, not just someone who can sing and dance to a beat or copy a beat from another artist and make it into their own and put a few lyrics on there. But I feel like the quality of artists have changed. Now, I do understand also the culture has changed in many ways. So we are connecting people in different cultures and genres. So I think that that's a good thing. I see a lot of younger artists today. I'm not sure how that's affecting people or affecting young ones. But I do think that the quality of artists have changed. And I'm not sure that I'm too impressed, if you will.
Can you expound upon that? What do you mean by the quality of artists?
Well, so one of my favorite artists today is her, H.E.R. And if we look at, from my perspective, the quality of the artist that she can play many different instruments. She is well-rounded. She was trained from a very young age. And so those are the kind of artists I'm drawn to. And I'm not saying those don't exist, but there were more when I was growing up who were well-rounded in different types of instruments, their training, their hustle, their drive, and even just what she talks about. It's really from the heart. It's really from the gut, really relatable. And so what I see today, a lot more popular music is just not true, what I would consider artists who are well-rounded in music in itself, and just music.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's interesting. So let's go to the next question. I'm gonna leave it there and then probably pick it back up based on the question that I have next. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about the topic of music, I think back when I was a teacher, and I'm in the classroom with these young people, and they're listening to whatever music they decide to listen to, and I would ask them questions, but they couldn't answer those questions, and so that led me back to, well, what about how are parents parenting the music, or how is it that these kids are being able to listen to the music? So, but before we get there, I want to ask this question: how do you decide what music you listen to? How do you decide what music you listen to? Sugar Curl, since you went last,
Okay.
you can pick who goes next.
Okay. I will go with Mr. Mario.
Okay. Really, I grew up, so I guess my guidelines come from my own experience and how I raised my children. Right now in my house, I have 4 kids in all, 2 that are grown and out of the house. But right now in my house, I have a 16-year-old daughter and a daughter that's going to be 15 this week or next week. So growing up in hip hop, rapping, doing hip hop. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Growing up in hip hop and like CJ said, listening to a lot of that, the DMXs and things of that nature, and I thought about this the other day. I have to share this stuff because this kind of helps you understand where I'm going. I was listening to some music the other day with my wife, and I just noticed all of the songs back in the days, or a lot of the songs back in the days, probably in my parents' days where music is concerned, everybody was coveting somebody else's spouse. It was me and Mrs. Jones. It was this and that. I mean, everybody was after somebody else's boyfriend or girlfriend, talking about what they can do better than that person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I really do live by the Bible. I try my best to live by the Bible and what God's word says to help streamline and help me parent my children. One of the guidelines I go by is Philippians 4:8-9, where it talks about thinking on things that are lovely, things that are true, things that are praiseworthy. So when it comes to my kids, and basically guiding them on what to listen to, there's so much I can say to them about what to listen to when they're in my presence. But as parents, we all know when they get out of our presence, when they get around their friends in school, they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to listen to what they want to listen to. However, my whole goal is to drill in them. Is it true? Is what you listening to true? Is it praiseworthy? And is it true? Is it something that you really are doing? Are you really about that life? Because even if it's not who you are now, it will ultimately begin to influence and affect who you are and who you will become. So to have those talks with my children, and then also be an example of what to listen to when we're in the car. Me and my wife make it a point to play certain music when we're in the car, when we're in the house, so they can understand what we listen to and then how it contrasts with the things that they may choose to listen to outside of our presence.
Sure. Now, you answered a different question. My question was, how do you decide what music you listen to?
It's probably the same answer. It's not probably the same answer. It's the same exact answer.
Okay. Bet. So who you got going next?
Let's go with Shay.
I think I decide what music I listen to depending on a few variables, what mood I'm in, where I am, and if my son is around or not. I think that dictates kind of what I will listen to in the moment. So I know CJ said the heathen music, but I still listen to all types of music, including heathen music, or what people would consider as heathen music. But it just depends on those variables that will determine like what type of mood I'm in, what I want to feel in that moment or that time, and then I'll play that. So it can go from love songs to Afro beats to reggae to gospel to trap. So it just depends on the mood and who's around.
So your mood was what just recently? Like what is like a happy mood, a sad mood? Are you trying to change your mood, encourage, like what, how is it determined? What is that? Can you kind of dive deeper into that?
Yeah. So if I am thinking about someone, then I'm like, okay, let me listen to some love songs. Or if I am about to go hang out with my girls, then I'm listening to Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi or something. Judge your mama, okay? So it just depends on what I'm doing, where I'm about to go, any of those things. If my son is in the car, then I try to keep it clean. I know he listens to rap and stuff, but I realized from TikToks and YouTubes, that's how he was able to get access to it. So it's like, okay, now I had to monitor the social media because I'm like, oh, those things are things I don't even listen to in the car. So when he's like, do you know who Young Chris is? I'm like, I don't know who Young Chris is. You know what I'm saying? But it's someone who he was introduced to from YouTube or TikTok or something like that. So I try to keep it, especially when my son is around, I try to keep it very clean. meaning that the language or what they're talking about is clean. I remember maybe like a few weeks ago, the station popped off into some other station, and I didn't even realize it, honestly, because like I said, I kind of go in and out when it comes to music as I'm driving. And the Boy XX Extension or something, some song he
XX
made.
Tentacion.
Okay, yes. See, I don't even know how to pronounce it. So my son was like, "Why are you listening to this?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "Turn this off. This is depressing." I didn't even know, because I didn't even realize what was happening. He was like, "That is depressing." And I looked and I was like, "Okay, I didn't even catch what, was playing." But clearly he was listening to it. So that's even more reason why I'm so mindful of what I play in the car. And I did immediately change it. But yeah, with him, I try to keep it clean and uplifting.
All right, appreciate that. Who you got going next?
Let's go with CJ.
How do you decide what music you listen to? I don't really listen to music as much as I used to, but when it comes to working out, I want to be turned. When I'm going to work, I want to have kind of some high spirits. So I like to listen to high frequency beats. I like to listen to beats more than anything. Like the song that Future and Tim's has, "I Will Wait for You." I downloaded the 8-hour loop of the instrumental. I just like to listen to it. Most of the songs I listen to, I don't even like the words. I just like the beat. But for the most part, I choose for what I'm going through, but I don't listen to music like that. Like I said, I'm also listening to Sir Hale, Humble Dad, the 5100 podcast, people like that. I'm going to start checking out Mario too. So, I don't really listen to music like I used to, because I don't like it. It's rare that I actually like a song, because I'm a rap guy. Like, so if rap is not hidden, I'm not really listening to music like that, unless it's oldies, like, the OJs, the Isley Brothers. Like, my favorite song is Voyage to Atlantis. So, like, I like listening to stuff that sounds good and just is sonically pleasing.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
Just Sir Hill and Humble Dad.
Sir Hale or Sugar Curl?
Oh, Sugar ain't went. Okay, let's go with Sugar. I'll leave Sir Hill alone for now.
Okay, so how do I decide what music I listen to? There is a basis, a scripture that I always keep in mind, 1 Corinthians 15:33, which says, "Do not be misled. Bad association spoils use for habit." So I'm always keeping that principle in mind before I'm deciding what music I listen to. And then it just depends on what I'm doing. Typically, I'm into neo soul or old school. So those genres I'm always into. And then I'm determining from there, what artist am I wanting to listen to? A male artist, a female artist? Am I feeling a little down? Am I excited? Am I happy? What is going on in my life at that time? But I do also like alternative rock as well. So those artists I like to listen to, but it's all guided by what kind of association I want, because I kind of look at entertainment as inviting people, whether it's music or movies, into my life, into my home. So as long as they are giving positive influences to me and their message is going to positively affect me in some way, then I'm all for it. Country as well.
Can I say something to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not personally.
By the way, this is a conversation. So
I try to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Because
you're good, bro. Yeah.
But when we say, it's just entertainment, and I get what she means by that. But the reason because this is a big topic for me. I've covered this several times, right? Entertainment and like music is what life sounds like. Entertainment is an imitation of life. And some of these younger guys, especially, I'm just talking about rap. That's mostly what I'm gonna be talking about. A lot of these younger guys literally will type the words to lyrics on the song and take a picture with a gun in their hand. Like, it's entertainment, but it's also selling an image. And when it comes to rap specifically, and our culture specifically, we tend to take on the lyrics as real life.
How do you see that?
Hold on. Where don't I see you? I mean, like I can just remember. I used to be affiliated. Won't say what I was affiliated with, but I was at a party, right? And this Waka Flocka song came on. It was from LeBron James Flocka mixtape. It's trash today, but it was the business back then. And I remember the guys, we was live, you know what I'm saying? Everybody throwing up their sets, but it like in the atmosphere I'm from, throwing up sets is just like a part of the party. So it don't really go left. But when that salute me or shoot me Flocka intro came on, where he's basically saying whoop a nigga, shoot this, shoot that, the energy in the room changed. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, we rumbling in there. We almost broke the floor in the building. Then we get outside and shots start ringing out like it was nothing. And I believe the ignorance was there before the song, but I do believe that the music plays a huge part in what's gonna happen. Like where I'm from, the party ain't good unless it gets shot up.
Interesting. So hell, it's on you. Then we'll bring Dwayne in.
CJ said something that I agree with, is that it's an energy. So there are times we go to the gym, I'll put on some I won't let you guys know how ratchet I can get sometimes, because I don't want you guys to see me in a bad light. But I put on certain songs and my mood changes. It just changes. And no one should be that angry lifting.
I want to know how ratchet though, Sir Hell. You have to share at least one song.
We'll have to do that at a different time when I prepare my PR team for this. So it's you listen to certain things and then you get angry and you get aggressive and you be mad at people and like sir, how many more sets you got until I'm done? Like I could just say I got 2 more sets, but that music make you a certain kind of way. So now I listen to music based off of how I want to feel. So if I know that I need to be more positive or a little bit lighter, I'll listen to things like that. And that's real talk. As a musician, you get a chance to see how certain sounds and chords can change a whole mood for people. And so now I'm more cognizant that if I listen to negative music, like I love trap, but you listen to too much trap, and you get negative about stuff, right? So you listen to something, then you get saved to put on some Kurt Franklin or some Yolanda Adams or something and get right with Jesus. So I listen to music based off of how I want to feel. That's what I do.
Based on how you want to feel. So what would you say your mood is currently?
Ratchet.
No. No, so my mood is light. Like this is if I would put on a track now, there's a salute to knowledge and relationships. I would have put on the Piano Guys. I'm in a mood where I'm reading and I'm thinking about things and planning some stuff out. And Piano Guys are a sort of classical style band. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. So in a really good mood, upbeat.
That's a bet. Dwayne, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, glad to be here. I was a little salty with myself.
Why you was salty with yourself?
Man, I got caught up in dinner, acting like I ain't had nothing else better to do. Meaning, like I thought I had the rest of the evening to myself. And I'm like, I looked at the clock. I'm like, man, you had something to do. So
it's okay, man.
It be like that sometimes.
Yeah, it'd be like that for sure. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity, right? We're gonna go back to the first question, which is, what was the last song you were listening to?
Last song I was listening to, man, that's a good question. I don't even know. I didn't listen to anything today, like songs. FIFA was on, like the World Cup was.
Oh yeah, you are a soccer guy. I forgot about that.
I wasn't listening to any songs today, but I'm originally from Jamaica, so I love me some reggae music. And to this very, very topic, there is something about, like, it does change your mood, and there is something about frequency. So playing the right frequency of the right chords will then get you to behave a certain way. And I think they know that. I think there's a science to it.
They definitely know.
Yeah. So in that, like, they are able to extract certain energies by a certain frequency. Like, as a matter of fact, whenever from the Bible, whenever God said, "Let there be light," like, he spoke it into existence. It's a frequency. So like we vibe off of that. And like, as for like reggae music, good vibes, man, Irie, you know. So it's like a good vibe or vibration. So in that, it can get you to act and behave in certain ways. So I just know, like, as for even with my kids, like they'll be watching little Einsteins, right? And like they'll start playing like like a little scary type, but it's like an orchestra, and it's playing like a scary type note or notes, and they'll come running like, hey, I'm scared. I'm like, what you scared of? Like, that's you ain't watching nothing scary. But that's the mood in which that scene is in, and they'll react to it in a certain way. So for kids know, like, even whenever it comes to like start moving, they don't even know what they're moving to or what they're moving for. But you know, once a nice little beat drop, elbows up. So me personally, I don't like I don't remember the last time I turned on like 97.9 or K104. Those are the only two I remember. But I don't even listen to the radio like that, like I used to, because it what you put in is what you'll put out. So if you're letting rubbish in, you'll put rubbish out.
That's a bet. Okay, so now we got everybody in their commentary. Now it's going to be a free for all. So I'm going to ask a question. It's on you to kind of give your take and your thoughts on it. And so we'll kind of go a little light. So the next question is, what movie has a very memorable soundtrack? What movie? I give you some think time. Now, the reason why I asked this question is because I remember when I was growing up that the soundtrack to a movie was the thing. It was the thing. And you know, and I would listen to them on repeat, you know, because it kind of set the stage for what the movie was going to be about, you know. And so I don't know if that's the same nowadays or not, because I don't listen to a lot of soundtracks or watch a lot of movies necessarily. So that may be a thing. I don't know. So from your perspective, what movie has been a very memorable soundtrack?
Well, I got two. One is my dad, because he couldn't believe this soundtrack was on this movie. That was Super Bad. I don't know if y'all remember that comedy movie. Like the music that they were playing, well, obviously it was a big deal to him. But then I heard they played Bobby Womack on there. I believe they played Gladys Knight and the Pips too. But
Really?
you wouldn't think it was Super Bad, right? That's just out of this world. But for me, man, it was the old Disney movies. One of my favorite soundtracks was Little Mermaid. Don't judge me, but it's the truth. Like,
Why is everybody not wanting to be judged? I'm not understanding. Like, we judging.
I can't
Like,
believe what I'm hearing.
like,
Bro.
you telling somebody to judge just makes them want to judge you even more. Okay.
Bro, the octopus lady, I can't remember her name, but her song was so scary, bro. Like, I remember we was riding in the car and my cousin was with us, and I said, watch, I'm gonna make Brandon cry. So I played the song. He started crying. But that music it's scary to this day. I can't even play that for my baby, man. She gonna have nightmares. But yeah, dope soundtrack. Under the Sea? Come on, bro. That's a banger.
Nah, man, listen, I'm gonna have to talk about you on my next stream, bro. Let me bring up some music that's got a little bit more thuggetry to it. The soundtrack from The Lion King. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Hakuna Matata, things like this. Only those who are deep in the street will understand this. So that had a really good soundtrack. Also, that movie Soul Food, that had really, for that time, that was very, very memorable. Like Best Man, Holiday. But there's also, I'm not sure if you're going to ask about a TV show. Can I insert one of those?
You can say whatever you want, bro. Interpret it how you want.
I'm not sure if y'all saw this this series that was on NBC called This Is Us. That the soundtrack for that captured the feeling, the moment of every scene. It was deep stuff. And so whenever it was a scene, whether it was a happy moment or something deep, the sound to it just sold it. So I would say those movies and that show.
The Thuggetry music. Okay, cool.
The Thuggetry.
Mm-hmm.
It's whoever wants to go next.
I'll hop in. You want to go, Shay? Okay. I think I'll say one soundtrack that comes to mind, and it's I remember the movie and I remember the music that set the tone was Dead Presidents. Dead Presidents has such a soulful lineup on that album. I'm talking about Al Green, Curtis Mayfield, Sly and Family Stone. It was just some old school joints, and it's just just very memorable for me. Is Dead Presidents. It's probably a lot I could say about it, but I won't prolong it. But that was a dope soundtrack.
No, you cool, man. You can elaborate on it.
I mean, I just think it was a dope soundtrack. Like I said, I do love the oldie goldies and the soulful music. Like I said, one of my favorite artists is Donny Hathaway. So anything that fits in that vein, Donny Hathaway, Al Green, in that area. But Dead Presidents was a banger. That soundtrack is hard.
I like the soundtrack on Creed. I don't know if y'all have seen Creed 1 and 2. I think there's a third one coming out.
Yeah.
But a lot of those soundtracks are very inspirational for me. There's Meek Mills was on there, Future. Tessa Thompson actually had a couple of her own songs on there. So I liked it a lot.
Okay, I will say I'm a musicals person. I'm not too much of like a movies person, but
musicals count. Musicals count.
Okay, so Grease, that's my favorite movie. So the Grease soundtrack, oh my goodness, I can sing every song in there word for word. Sister Act 2. Oh, happy day. Like word for word. And then most recently, me and my son started watching Swagger on Apple TV, and Toby, he has a few songs in that series. So I would say that soundtrack.
Toby hard.
Yeah, he's pretty dope.
A new one I just thought about is the Black Panther that just came out. The soundtrack to that movie is pretty incredible.
I haven't heard that one. I may take a listen. So you, Dwayne.
Muted.
You're on mute. Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, no, I make it real simple. I don't have one, unfortunately. One of my favorite movies was Ray, with Jamie Foxx. That one was fire. But yeah. Other than that made me go back and listen to some of them, the actual Ray albums. And yeah, Ray Charles was he wasn't doing the mess around. He sung the mess around, but he wasn't playing with nobody. So other than that, no, I ain't got none on that one.
No, you do. I mean, you said Ray. I mean,
okay, all right.
I would imagine that they had a really good soundtrack. I mean, that was I think that's when Jamie Foxx won his Grammy, not Grammy, but his Oscar, wasn't it? So I would imagine that the music had some parts to do with that as well, right? So as we think about these topics, I think somebody had said, I think it may have been CJ, talked about music being influential. And then I asked you a question about how you decide on what you listen to. And you said that some people said that it connects me, or somebody, I think Sir Hale said, well, it depends on what mood I want to be in, right? And so if music is influential, then should we be more cognizant of what we listen to or what our kids listen to? Yes or no, and then explain and expound upon. So I said again, should we be more, since we know that it's influential and it's effective, it connects us to people, and it provides a different mindset. Should we be aware? Should we decide based on that and what we listen to, and what our kids listen to?
Absolutely.
And then explain your reason.
Watch out, little girl. Watch out. I was chilling one day. I'm gonna tell on you since you want to pop up. So I was chilling, watching TV, right? So she's on the floor coloring, and next thing I hear is bark, bark, chicken, chicken, bark. I'm like, hold on, bro. Where you hear this song from? You know what I'm saying? I know I don't even play that type of stuff for, you know what I'm saying? I don't know the effect that it has on her to this day. I mean, it was just a simple song that she heard. I don't know how it's gonna affect her. But I know I was terrified though. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like the fact that she knew that song. And I'm not mad at her. I mean, she's a kid. But because you came over here talking. But yeah, so I just think that we have to be cognizant of what we're playing. The example I gave earlier with the Flocka song, bro, that really affected everybody in the party. Like I saw it happen. You know what I'm saying? And as far as my daughter, like what I listen to, I even try to limit that too. But like I said, I'm still of the culture. I'm still of the culture. I still feel the lyrics because I've done some of the lyrics, so it's like it just hits different for me. But even with that, I still limit it. And that's why I don't listen to music. It's also why I stopped rapping, because I felt I was best at talking about the street stuff. I feel like there's no rapper in the world that can touch me. That's just me. But in that genre, it just brought on a lot of darkness. I mean, even in the studio, you couldn't even do a song right if we wasn't, how should I say this on Humble Dad's platform?
You can say however you want to. Y'all need to stop playing. Y'all better be yourself.
Okay, I'm just trying to be humble. When you're full of the gas, as they say, you know what I'm saying? The song wouldn't even be right if we go in there sober. And that bleeds over into the microphone when you're full of the gas. You know what I'm saying? I'm making a high song without even making a high song. And I forgot who mentioned it, but the chords that you play, I mean, if you make beats, you know this for a fact. Just certain bass lines, hi-hats. You could have a song with just a snare drum, 808, and it would be one way. You insert some hi-hats next to each other, it's a completely different song. It's a feeling. So the way I guard my daughter is I just don't play certain stuff. I want her to listen to positive songs. And it's not always like I love the Lord and Jesus is my shepherd, but it can just be songs like Because I'm Happy by Pharrell. It's just stuff like that. It's like it's not a bad vibe to it. It's I won't be upset if she repeated the lyrics somewhere else. One thing that got me is she repeated lyrics to one of my songs. And that's when I was like, all right. I gotta chill, you know what I'm saying? Because I do think in terms of what I would want my daughter to hear and who would I want her riding with listening to certain music, you know what I'm saying? So me being in effect negatively definitely hit me in the stomach like a gut punch. So I would say if go by what you want to live your life by, because music definitely plays a part. Just like if you listen to too much red pill content, you might start to hate women. You might. Not saying you will, but
I see the transition.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like this red pill platform here. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all, bro. Not at all.
All this dad shit, misogyny.
Anyone else got a take on it?
Yeah, I do. You know, I don't. I do not desire my children to cuss. Like that's one of the things that I don't desire. And some of these rap music that I was listening to growing up, you know, there's a lot of cussing in it, and it does bring you to a certain state, and it does bother me whenever I do like pull up next to a car and I have my window down and somebody's playing some music that has cuss words in it, and my daughter's right there or my son's right there. I don't like that, because they're parrots. Like at a young age, they're parrots, and they absorb and then they repeat. So these things, like they'll just repeat it, like CJ was saying. So I don't desire that for them. So I am very, 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 very cautious and aware of the content that I put on around them. And I know that once they go out into the wild, that content, they can be exposed to it. But what I can control is what happens in my household. And I don't desire that. But I will say this, like from growing up, yeah, used to download mixtapes and all this other jazz. So I had an event this weekend, and they had a DJ, and I was like, man, this DJ's fire, because he was playing everything from back whenever I was back in high school. And the group of people that I was taking pictures of, they were around my age. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But then I was like, wait a minute, like, this is say you don't want to play this for your kids. But then my oldest is 16, and I'm like, you know what? I know there is music now that I ain't got no idea about, that they're listening to or possibly listening to, that don't make no sense or nothing to me, that may be relevant to them whenever they get my age, and then they hear it and be like, man, that's from back in the day, right? And I'm like, I don't know if, as for the depriving, I don't know what it is, but I struggle with the trying to balance that out, because there is a nostalgic feeling, like going back and hearing, oh, okay, all right, hearing a song from back back in high school or something that you grew up on. But then I'm trying to have to balance that out. So I'll even put it like this: we got a radio in our house that we got on a Christian station, and it plays 24/7. We don't turn it off. Right. And ain't nothing just brings me joy. Like, we scrolling through the store, and to hear one of my kids start singing one of them Christian songs. And I'm like, oh man, boom, from the top, bring it back. Right. And it's like that to me is because they are, and some of these, most of these songs are rooted in scripture. So whenever it does say to meditate on the word, like whenever they have the ability, like there's a difference between what you allow into your mind and, again, what you think about, because some of these tunes are real catchy. So in the same instance, if you're able to then focus that energy in a different trajectory, like that's my desire. But I know they will be exposed to other content. But all I can do is control what's in my sphere. But it does bother me. It does scare me, and especially because it's so influential. These folks out here that are making money off this music, they're not making money because it's good for culture. It's because it's damning to culture. I'll say it like that. What they say, sex sells, sin sells, all these things sell because it causes destruction, and they will be able to monopolize that or monetize that. So I think most of the stuff, they're doing it for a reason, but then same thing for Christian music, right? They can monetize that. But then what's the byproduct of it? That's what I'm concerned about, me personally.
For sure.
Compared to Dwayne, I'll just say we do have to be mindful of that. I do struggle as well with trying to balance it. One thing I will say is what I am mindful of is keeping the song on repeat. I remember one time I was really feeling this song by Young Blue, or Blue as he goes by now. And so I remember having that song on repeat. Well, I went to sleep. The song was playing in my unconscious memory, and I didn't like that. I was like, I'm literally hearing Young Blue in my sleep. Like, I don't want that. So now I don't listen to songs on repeat. It's like, okay, let me enjoy for that moment and keep it moving, because I don't want anything to just remain stuck, especially in my unconscious or in my conscious. So I don't do that. But when it comes to my son, I do struggle with that balance in terms of what he should listen to and when, because kids, if you don't expose them to certain things, they will allow the world to expose them to those things as well, right? So do you want the world teaching your children, or do you want to give them some exposure and just explain to them about what's happening and what's going on? Because I don't want the world teaching my son, but I don't want to shelter him to where he isn't aware, right? And I'll use this for instance. We were talking about something, and I mentioned crack or something, that it was a song or something. And so he was like a rock. And I was like, what you know about a rock? And he's like, Mommy, I read books about addictions because it's important to know what symptoms are with people who have addictions, because maybe if they're around you and you may not even know. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But it's things like that. Like I was about to break it down to him, and he was like, a rock. I'm like, what? Like that? That was too much, right? But it goes to show you don't want the world to teach your kids, so they go to school for most of their time. They're in athletics. They're just exposed to so many different types of environments that are nothing like your home, right? Because everyone has their own set of guidelines and morals and values that guides them. And so I just make sure, like similar to what Dwayne says, as for me and my home, we are doing these things, and then I keep the conversation open so that we can talk about other things. I don't want to completely close them off because I don't want him to grow up in this world naive either.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So I kind of echo Shay's sentiment as well on this particular topic. I do think we need to be cognizant and aware of what we're exposing our kids to. We definitely are. In my case, I homeschooled both of our girls until they were old enough to go to school. One thing that I was kind of susceptible to is kind of growing up a bit sheltered and a bit protected, like overbearingly. And I saw the results of that. So one thing that we're trying to do in our household is just to be balanced. And as she said, we don't want to raise children that are too naive and gullible at the same time, because as much as we try to protect them, when they go out into the world, similar to maybe homeschooled children, they are going to get exposed to many different things. So for us, it's best to go ahead and understand what's out there, explain to them what to look out for. This is how you handle these things. This is what God expects of you. This is how you train your conscience. This is how you be a leader. This is how you develop courage and confidence in what you're going to do. But know that these things are out there. So I have come to peace with myself, knowing that I know that there are some things my kids are going to hear. They may even like what they're hearing. I can't control that. You know, God is more powerful than I am. He's going to work with their heart and their minds. So I'm not going to stress over certain things. But we do lay the law. We do lay the foundation. Okay, this is what's wholesome and this is what's not. And leave it at that.
Can I ask a question? Just this for everybody though. Do y'all think that artists, entertainers, sports figures are in any way responsible for what our kids may do or act out? Like, cause I hear this all the time from artists. You know, you raise your kids, you ain't got to worry about them listening to Cardi B or whatever. Do y'all think that that's a true statement?
I'll jump in on this one. So, to that specific question that you asked, there was Lil Nas was asked that question, and he was asked about role models, and he's like, "I'm not your kid's role model, right?" But I saw this video of him going to an elementary school, singing in front of a whole bunch of young kids, singing "Hometown Road," and all of them kids knew the lyrics. It didn't matter what color they were, white, black, Asian, all of them knew the lyrics, right? So he started off seeming wholesome to now lap dancing with the devil. That escalated real quick. How many of those kids that followed him from when he first started to the point where he was not dancing on the devil, like to the point where, or lap dancing or whatever it was that he was doing, how many of those kids now see him as an influence to themselves? And from that standpoint, he knows this, they know this, but then it's not their job. They don't care. Just as long as they're getting their money, they don't care. They're fulfilling an agenda. They're fulfilling their purpose. And if they lead your kid astray, if they lead our kids astray, if they lead our community astray, they don't care, because they have their reward. Now, as for us, it is our job to be the shepherd to our children. Whenever there's dangers out there, we're the ones who are supposed to then be able to set those perimeters, set those boundaries. And whenever they start to get close to those boundaries, to realize and recognize where they're at. And from that standpoint, I believe they're fully conscious. Now it's up to us to be also conscious.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to that. And I'm really echoing everything that everybody said. I think everybody said some great stuff. So praise God for that. Every platform, just me as an artist, think of me as an artist. I'm pretty sure CJ can relate to this as well as Elijah. But being an artist, I mean, it's you actually have a platform of influence. That's what you are. You have a platform of influence. Even us as content creators, we have a platform of influence. Whether we want to label it entertainment, whether we feel like we can contain this entertainment, it is meant to influence the listeners, the watchers, and all of those who take it in. Several things that popped up in my mind. And I'm really going back to what CJ said, because he made me think about Nuck If You Buck. I remember that song coming on and everybody wilding out.
I was thinking the exact same song. Yeah.
In the club.
Yes, it totally shifted the atmosphere. And for some reason, and I had to God had to deal with me about this, thinking that, okay, here's godly music, Christian music, gospel music, worship music that is meant to usher me into a certain atmosphere. It is has a purpose to bring me to a certain place where I can isolate myself with God, even if I'm in a room full of people. But it has a purpose for that. And for me to think that this other music doesn't have a purpose to be able to shift an atmosphere, to be able to do something to me, to affect me. You know, a verse that came to mind is 2 verses. I just want to throw these out real quick. Galatians chapter 6 says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows, he will also reap. And it says, for he who sows to the flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the spirit will reap of the spirit everlasting life. And that's one of the verses that God began to deal with me on, thinking that, you know, do you really think, basically is what it's saying is, to mock God is to believe you can open yourself up to things that are not of God and it's not going to affect you. For us to believe we can open ourselves up to things that are not conducive to God's spirit, that don't push us close to God, that's not encouraging us to get a relationship with God, and to believe that it's not going to affect us, the Bible says that's mocking God. And the other verse, I won't name the scripture, but the other verse says the heart above all things is deceitful. And what that means is the heart can't tell you good seed from bad seed. It's gonna produce whatever you sow into it. So we have to, by God's word and by the leading of the Spirit, filter out and determine what we're going to listen to and not listen to. Otherwise, we become like that story in the Bible about the garden, where it says a farmer went out, planted seeds in the garden, went to sleep, woke up, and there was tares and wheat in that garden. So I'm like, dang, we look at our lives sometimes, we be like, God, how do I get tares? And God said, because you were asleep. So sometimes we let the guard down on things, thinking it's just entertainment. It's just going to give me my mood. And it's not knocking nobody, because I did it several times. And I still have to catch myself and say, God, you know, I ain't trying to be deep, but at the same time, I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to go somewhere in you. I'm trying to be a good father. I'm trying to be a good husband. I'm trying to be responsible with my finances is concerned. And I need to be at a certain place spiritually. And I know that music affects that. I know I said a lot, but appreciate y'all.
No, you said a lot, but that was real. It gave me a lot to reflect on internally for myself, because I am definitely one of those who was like, okay, well, I can listen to this, and then sometimes I'm gonna listen to that, right? But you brought it home, so that was good. Thank you.
Yeah, I also say this: can a man take fire in his bosom and not get burned? Yes, that's what that was rich, man. I appreciate that.
So hell, you seem like you thinking about something. What you thinking about, bro?
Thuggetry.
Yeah, so I'm just I think about this. So I do think that the scripture about train up a child in the way that he should go when he's old, he won't depart from it. I think that the world is going to throw what they're going to throw, but I think that if we train our kids and give them that consciousness that I'm hearing this and my shoulder's moving, but don't take it too far. That if we create some parameters, because your kids are going to go to concerts, they're going to go out to dates and go dancing, and school's going to have performances. So we can't shield the kids from stuff. It's just not possible. But if we teach them, if we train them that music ain't just what you rock to, what you dance to, but that this goes into your heart. And even if I'm not sure if you guys are aware, there can be a song on that you barely hear. You really can't hear the words. But you're singing the words that you can't really hear. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not sure if you guys have ever dealt with that before. Like you've been singing a song and then you hear the song on the radio. Like, I was just saying that because is a frequency, and it is so deep that I think that a lot of us, we forget that. Now, I don't want to go too deep, but as spiritual people, we know that we're in a spiritual warfare, and music is so powerful that when you read about revelations in the scriptures, you hear music preceding everything. When we talk about Christ coming back, music is going to be playing. It's a trumpet, right? When you look at when we speak, our whole voice is shaped like a trumpet, right? His music is all around us, and if in the way that the other side of the darkness, it has to replicate that. So it's like you got two bands going on. One band is to uplift your spirit, and the other band is to drive you down. And I think that it behooves us to remember that what we're fighting is spiritual stuff. It ain't really about the lyrics. It's not really about the music. It's about what's behind all of that. And I think that the way we guard ourselves is to train up our kids in the way that they should go. And so when they hear certain things, like when my kids started singing that song by Meg Thee Stallion about Savage, I'm like, no, you ain't, classic bougie. No, you're not, right? And then that's a learning opportunity to teach them that you're singing lyrics to something and they're just repeating what they're hearing. But as kids get older, they start acting like what they're saying, and that's where the problem becomes. So you get a chance to hear where the kids are at, explain to them, and give them some freedom to hear some certain things. But the root of all of this is we got to train our kids and let them know that what goes into their ears goes into their heart, and what goes into their heart shows up in their life. And so we train them up that way.
Out of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? And what is not what goes into a man that defiles what comes out, right? But it's like, what are we putting in? So this is one of the things that I did, going to kind of like what I was talking about. How do you kind of teach your kids what it is to look for? Well, this past week or last week, what I did was I was talking about music. I don't even know how it came up, but we somewhat of a musical family, and I said, let's listen to the songs that the world would say would be okay, because I listen to Christian rap, Christian worship music, right? Worship music, and so I sat down, listened, and I typed in like hip hop songs, because typically I listen to hip hop, and I had all four of them sit down and listen, and like as they're listening, I said, "What y'all think?" I didn't even say anything. I just said, "What y'all think?" And they was like, "I like the beat. The words are awful. The words are awful. And then because it was video, then it's like, man, okay, now the video is thrown off because they have like half naked women, right? I was like, so now I got to turn it off, right? But I'm actually trying to show them. I said, this is what the world would have you say is good, right? Even if it's, appreciate Sugar Curl, she had to go. Even if it's R&B, because we try to talk about rap as if it's the only genre of music that's talking about something. I mean, me and Mrs. Jones,
facts.
We talked about that, right?
Whoa. That's my last name, man.
I ain't even realize this.
That's my mama now. Well,
listen,
now it's my wife now.
Listen, somebody wrote a song about him, bro. That ain't on me. I'm just
teach
saying
now. Well, I'm about to bite somebody.
you know, got a thing going on, right? So even
Mrs.
the R&B songs,
Jones.
even the R&B songs are like that, right? So even not just then, but even now, right? And so if we're knowing that these songs have such an influence, especially us as believers, those that claim to be believers, you have to really be cognizant of how you decide on how much you consume with that, right? You can probably have a piece of candy, right? You can have a piece of candy, but you don't want to lavish in candy, right? I'm not saying for you not to listen to, secular music or whatnot, but you really have to be aware of how often you listen to it, because your kids will at some point be able to hear it. But just like in the FBI, they teach them how to, I think it's a federal agency, they teach them how to discover what a real dollar is by telling them about the real dollar. Like they expose them to the real dollar, and then they have to go search through these dollars to see which one. And so now they can identify a fake one because they know what the real one looks like. Okay. So yes, and so that particular activity, for me to expose them to that music, it was under my guidance and walking them through, like, what do these lyrics sound like? Does it connect with what it is that we talk about biblically, right? If that's your lane. And even if it's not biblically, right? If you're not in that space, the words do not even encourage you to be better. It literally encourages you to do something that will not help you be productive, right? And so I wanted to kind of hone in on that and hopefully help those that would be listening later. And so transitioning into the next and last question.
Before you do that, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
go ahead.
Has anybody heard the song by Nas called "I Gave You Power"?
No, sir.
Now, just to the point, it could be determined that it's a negative song because of, he talks about deleting people, and he talks about, black on black violence, but the song is actually him being the weapon, the firearm. He's talking about being used as a firearm and how he hates what he's doing. Y'all just go check the song out and you'll kind of get where I'm drawing from it. But it could be considered negative, but I believe in spirit that he was actually trying to make a positive song to bring awareness to gun violence.
One thing like with music you can't deny is how it makes you feel. Like you can hear, like I know some, and this is real talk. I know some quote unquote Christian songs. I'm like, all right, yo, oh yeah, it's Christian, and I'd be in it, be like, I shouldn't want to go whoop nobody. I want to go whoop somebody that ain't the devil. Something ain't right with this one. So like one thing with music, you can't deny how it makes you feel. The way you feel is telling you what's behind all that.
Yeah, remember who was in charge of the music, right? It was Lucifer himself, right? And so he is very influential. Last question is, what would like? Because we already kind of talked about how to determine children's music selection. Y'all did that very well throughout the course of the dialogue. So I transitioned to have this as our final question. What do you think life would be like without music? What would life be without music?
I can't even imagine that. I know it'd be sad. It would be terrible. It'd be sad. Music, movies would be boring. A lot of people who married wouldn't be married because they wouldn't have the right soundtrack to propose to. Watching TV would be terrible. Wouldn't be no suspense at movies. It'd be terrible. So life would, to me, it would be sad because music, whether we know it or not, we all carry a song in our heart. Because life is just, we're connected that way. So I couldn't imagine music without life. I could imagine life without music.
Yeah, there you go.
My bad, Joe.
That's that thuggetry.
The thuggetry,
yeah. CJ will hit him every time, boy.
He does. CJ get it. Anybody else?
I agree. It would be terrible. I think sometimes I'm not really good with my words, so I can always find a song to communicate what I want to say. And so I think it would be terrible. I would totally be at a freeze in certain situations as well. So yeah. And then from a spiritual standpoint, when you just want to release, and let go, I can always play some type of worship music to get me into a zone where I can just release everything that has been weighing heavily on me. So I think everybody would be uptight, and yeah, it just wouldn't be a good thing overall.
A lot of black people houses wouldn't be clean on Saturday morning because they couldn't play Al
I
Green.
hit him with that.
That Aretha Franklin Saturday morning.
Well done, CJ.
Yeah, well done. I agree. Even when you say that, it just seems like a silent world. If we didn't have music, it's crazy to even think about that. And then you'd be like, wow, like it would be a silent world. But music, even if you don't, me and my wife have been blessed to travel and go some places, and we've been to Paris and some other islands, and you just realize even if you don't speak the same language as people, you still connect with them through music. So it's a universal language, and I just feel like God meant for it to be that, at least to unite us for the right reasons. But yeah, music is purposeful. We need it, definitely.
Bro, when I sometimes, well, Sir Hell know this, like a lot of my live shows and some solo podcasts I do, I need music. Like it brings a certain spirit to what I'm trying to do, as we've been talking about this whole time. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't even listen to music like I used to, but if I didn't have the option, bro, I don't know. I don't know who I would be, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that'll be tough. Like, I don't know. Would going and listen? I don't know how many of y'all went and listened to y'all's kids' ultrasound, but that's a rhythm. The heartbeat is a rhythm. So it's like
Dwayne.
Each of these things are a rhythm. So life without that, it wasn't meant to be. So hey, that's a tough one to discuss, because that's a hypothetical we don't desire. I wouldn't desire it. So even with that, like, as for being productive, cleaning, doing these different things, like it gets you moving, it gets you motivated. There is a purpose for it. So with that purpose, I think it just has to be honed in and done right. And once it's done maliciously, that's where we run into problems. But it's a gift. The ability to hear is a gift. Not many have it. Like we say, common sense is common. Hearing is a common sense, but not everybody has it. So it's a gift. It's a gift from God.
Yeah, and a form of healing too. I think there is healing that is found in music. So without it, there are other forms of music, but it does have that ability.
Very good. Very good. I think a world without music is not, in my opinion, is not how God wanted it, obviously. I mean, you're talking about angels singing, holy, holy, holy. You're talking about those that we've lost along the way. It says that they're worshiping and rejoicing in heaven. Then you get down here, we're supposed to be doing the same thing. And even if it's not instruments, singing is a form of music. When people sing in a cappella, and my mom and her sisters had a group, and they would go a cappella, and I was like, man, that's pretty amazing. That the sound that they would make, right? I mean, if you do a live band, CJ and Mario, if you rapping and you do it live, like it's just a total different response than a soundtrack, right? It just elevates whatever is it, your verse as well as the crowd, right? And it's that connection. So all of that to say that the music that we have, we obviously see that it's influential, and we're the gatekeepers to our kids. We want to be more aware of what it is that we give them, as well as why give money to people that don't have our interest, right? Why give these artists they have their platform, but we don't have to acknowledge it so much, but we can just say, listen, this is what's going on, kids. do you aspire to be what this is? I think Mario talked about that. This line up with what you're trying to do. So I appreciate everybody on the panel. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go check out Sir Hale. He's at not 8 but 9,000. He had a humble flex earlier. Appreciate that. Then you got Shay. She's doing the taxes. Hey, listen, they can get at you everywhere, right? Like on the Instagram, Facebook, and they can get you anywhere in the US.
Anywhere in the US, Uptown Discovery Group is our firm name. So you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever there's a social media, and we also have a website.
That's a bet. Hey, before I give somebody else, say, Sir Hale, like give the people what's your next topic and where can they find you at?
So my next topic is support the Humble Dad on his YouTube channel because nobody does it like he does. So if you guys are watching this, take a few moments. I want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tune in, because if you want to check me out, come find me here only on the Humble Dad.
I appreciate that, Sir. Hey, Mario, where can people find you at, bro? First of all, I appreciate you being on, man.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me,
Pleasure to
man.
meet you, man.
Beautiful people, love being among beautiful people. My wife and I have started a YouTube channel. As you can see, you can see the handle on the screen. It's at Naked and Unashamed with Mario and Maisha, where we talk about marriage, where we've told our testimony about how we met. Our latest video is how God blessed us from a 3-bedroom house to a 6-bedroom house. So
Wow.
we just really tell our testimonies and share what God has done in our life. So come check us out on YouTube at Naked and Unashamed.
That's a bet. And we have Mr. CJ. CJ, tell us about your podcast, man. It's you and a couple other people, isn't it?
No, it's me and my co-host Tez Defy. You know, we Memphis people, so we say stuff like that.
No, okay. Okay,
but his name is a play on words. Tez Defy, Testify.
Ah,
you know right, yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we talk about where Humble Dad gets his beard oil from too. It's pretty dope.
Listen, you realize that I go in on you. Listen, you lucky we gotta go, bro. But I'm definitely.
But you can find us at the 5100 podcast, THE space FYE 100 podcast. You can also go to 5100podcast.com. We have merch there. We have old episodes. We show pictures of our humble beginnings, not knowing what we were doing as far as a microphone and a background or a camera. You know what I'm saying? We show the humble beginnings. We're a little spicy, you know what I'm saying? But I am not going to lie. Even just from this conversation, I've learned to tone down some of my messaging so I can get clear through to people. You know what I'm saying? The best way I know how. And I've realized just from God that I think I know so much, but I found out I know nothing. So I'm just constantly trying to learn.
I feel like that when I walk in the library. Dwayne, listen, man, I appreciate you, bro. Even when you're late, I still appreciate you.
I appreciate you not closing the door like my teachers.
For sure. Just by the way, me and Dwayne, you know what I'm saying, he's my accountability partner. For some reason, God asked me for him to be my accountability partner, and dude be checking me pretty much each week. So I appreciate that. And for those that don't have one, you need to go get you one. You know what I'm saying? All right. And Dwayne, they can find you not on the social media streets, but listen, he's a photographer, but he don't want people to know. But he's phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? So they can check you out. Did you get your website fixed?
I sure did.
Look at that.
A trick or two in the process, so God's good.
What is it?
DwayneJonesPhotography.com.
That's a bet. Well, I appreciate everybody, man. It's been good. It's been real. And until next time, we out here. Deuces. Man, this has been another phenomenal show. It's incredible for me to experience the questions that I ask and not really knowing where they're going to go and what people are going to say. And I like to have the conversation with people about their perspective. And I don't necessarily on my particular podcast necessarily like want to question their particular perspective because, I think it's important for me to hear their perspective before I actually try to combat it. But in person, I probably am a little bit more combative just to not on purpose, but just to challenge people's thinking. And you know, I really appreciate those that come out and hang out with me for a moment, because they don't have to. And as it relates to music, I've been a part of music, I don't know, since I was like 9, 10. I was writing songs and rewriting songs. We would sing as a group, the Junior Grandettes, when I was a kid. And then got into music later on, and really discovered how influential it is. And I thought that it wasn't. I thought that I could listen to anything and it not be a big deal, but how I live my life was a reflection of what it is that I was listening to. That's how powerful music is. And for my kids, I do give them a little bit more freedom to kind of listen to what it is that they want to, but they always come back to just listening to things that are of value. You know, I did at one point have a structure, and then my oldest, she now is able to listen to a little bit more things, but she always listened to stuff like either techno music or video game music, or things that encourage her, or things that make her think about life in general. And so I didn't want to be the dad that like clamors down and say, you can only listen to Christian music, because, you know, at the end of the day, they will listen to what it is that they want to listen to later on. I want them to discover that music is influential, and that on the as I stated, but also be able to mesh it up against the standard in which we live by, and that's the Word of God. And so I want to say thank those that's supporting me. I appreciate that. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. Got a special right now at the humbledad.life website, 22% off on Humble Dad gear with the upcoming season, holidays, and representing Christ is what it's about, being thankful. So I thank you. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.